We're a few minutes early. If anyone has any questions or anything that's in their energy and their frequency before we get started, throw them in the chat. But we are just a few minutes early. Again, welcome everyone. We are around 2 minutes out. If you have any questions in your spirit, questions in your frequency, in your vibration at the moment that you have shown up with, throw them in the chat and we'll take a few minutes. All right. All right. So it's pretty much 12 o'clock. So we'll get started. I want to welcome everyone to this episode of this presentation of Consciousness Ascending. This is episode number 64 of Accelerating Your Journey. My name is Benny Ferguson. I channel the non-physical collective known as Abraham, and we are excited to be here. We're excited to be of support, to have the opportunity to be of support for those of you who are on this journey of enlightenment, for those of you who are about the play and practice of growth and expansion, for those of you who know that you are creating and then you are aspiring to be a powerful conscious creator, and to know that you are in this life as you walk physically and not after you make your transition. Our topics for today. Well, if you're new, be sure to subscribe. Be sure to connect. Hit that bell notification so that you know when new content is uploaded, when we're going live again. Check the description for ways to connect with us on a deeper level, a more consistent level, and take a peek at some of the other opportunities that there are to allow us to be of support at an even greater level. Today's topic is, are your intentions free of conflict? Customized experience is a matter of design. Are your intentions free of conflict? Customized experience is a matter of design. Let's get started. Conscious creators. You have to know that if you have an intention, then you have to be clear on the design. And this is an interesting concept because when we say clear on the design, yes, we do mean clear. We do mean a level of clarity, for that's what happens when you walk the path of a desire or an intention. You have an idea. I would like to go out this evening. I would like to go to a restaurant this evening. And then what happens? Once you know that you would like to go to a restaurant, if you don't know exactly where that is at the moment, it begins to narrow itself down. You narrow down the place. You narrow down the location if there's multiple locations in your area. Then either before or when you get to the restaurant, you start narrowing down what you desire to eat as nourishment at that restaurant. And you get clearer and clearer and clearer as you walk the path of deciding the experience that you are intending. And that It's the exact same thing for your life. When you stop reacting to experience, when you stop reacting and falling in line with your conditioning, and you start choosing the types of relationships you desire. You start choosing, and most have an idea, but at the same time they think that all of the mishaps and all of the disconnect and all those things, they think that's just normal. It's not. It's not normal. It doesn't have to be your normal. So you decide, this is the type of relationship that I desire to have. This is my experience with abundance that I desire to have. This is my experience of health and well-being that I desire to have. This is the experience I desire to have in my job or my career. This is the experience I intend or desire to have in my business. This is the experience I intend or desire to have in my marriage or as a parent. Every area that relates to you, every idea, every area, every experience that you can imagine requires clarity. And again, you do it already, but you do it from a low vibrational space. You do it with massive conflict that you give more attention to. Most are giving more attention to the conflict, and that's what slows down the materialization. It's also what clouds the materialization. So, first of all, your experience is a matter of design. What is your design? Are you holding firmly to your design, no matter what the external appears to be? Are you holding to your design no matter what the external appears to be? You want to make a shift in your career. Your current position is not challenging you to the clip that you would like it to. Your current position is not resonating with you, or is no longer resonating with you the way it once did. You have grown. You have expanded. It's the result of beautiful things. Or you're experiencing negativity, low vibration in your job or career, and you're desiring a fresh start. Whatever it is, you have to get clear. Clarity is power, because clarity gives you a more lasered potential of focus that's piercing as an energy signature, as an energy stream. So clarity is key. Now, we've spoken about this before also. With that comes along the color and the tone that you're offering that laces that clarity. Are you expecting in the highest? Are you offering in your vibrational expression in the highest, the brightest, the most beautiful, the most excellent? And because you are offering that as a vibrational expression, are you expecting the highest, the most beautiful, the most excellent? If you understand that that which you are offering vibrationally is reflected back to you in your experience, the feeling, bar any desired manifestation, the feeling colors and coats every next present moment. If you understand that and you are being consistent and have been consistent in your vibrational offering, then you understand that as you get clearer, this is lacing the next present moment of experience. So your intention must be laced and colored in the frequencies that you're offering. So if you are super clear on your intention and your focus is laser streamlined, that's powerful. That's powerful. But we'll throw in there that you can also be laser streamlined on the experience of excitement. Just being focused on creating exciting experiences is clarity also. Right? Not every single type of experience has to be supremely clear. Excitement is clarity. Loving is clarity. Beautiful is clarity. Awesome is clarity. And many of you have done this unconsciously. Some of you may have done it consciously. Benny has done it consciously, where he and his family have claimed excellent experience before they've gone on trips or before they've gone to visit family. And at the end of the day, in the evening, when they have returned home, the experience in its totality was exactly that. It's time to start doing it consciously and not unconscious as a reaction. Yes, I had a great day today because this happened, because that happened, and it made me feel good. That's still reacting because you're still susceptible to interpreting and feeling experience as not so great. This not so great thing happened or appeared to happen, and so it threw me off center into low vibration, and the rest of my day went as such, in perfect alignment with that color, with that frequency, with that tone. All in reaction. It's time to start choosing consciously by understanding that clarity of your design is a part of the process. Being clear on your design, being clear on your intention, even if it seems open-ended, like we said, is a part of the process, is a part of the creative process. Utilizing the faculty of your imagination. You can be clear on the car, you can be clear on the home, you can get clearer and clearer on the job or position. You can be clear on what your business looks like, who you are, who is your customer or client, the product or service that you're going to offer, the tone of the product and service, the highest, the most excellent. That's who we're going to be. This is the revenue creation that I intend as a result of the offering. You can be clear on all of those things and lace it in the highest of frequencies. And you can start off saying things like, we're just going to be the world's best. We're just going to be a global influence, a global support. And then know that all the pieces are going to fall into place to where you find yourself being that. At the level that you expect and believe you can be. And once you are clear, to whatever degree feels right for you, once you are clear, you have to understand that the question then becomes, are you free of conflict? Are your intentions being your designs, intentions being your desires, are you free of conflict to those? That's the next piece of the puzzle. When you get clear, when you understand that, or you are clear on your design, and you understand that you have the imagery, you know how it feels. You're completely engaged in the inner creative process and pointing it with clarity and focus in the direction of that which you intend to create. The next beautiful piece is that anything that you may be carrying on the inside, any conditioning that is in contrary to the idea and the feeling, is going to begin to present itself. The conflict, any resistance. And that's exciting. Everything that you have ever done in your life, every desire, every intention that you've ever had, even before you came in contact with this type information, you have had designs. Whether it was to get in shape, greater shape, whether it was to change your eating patterns, whether it was to have a beautiful relationship, whether it was to make more money, whether it was to travel, to go to school or go back to school. You've had intentions that have bubbled up as a result of your inspirations and your passions and all of those things. You've had intentions. You can't help that. You have desires. You can't help that. But before you became conscious of who and what you are and the responsibility that you have, it's possible that your inner conflict to your desires won the day. Meaning that the conflict was bigger and stronger as an idea than the idea of the desired experience. It's possible that the conflict had more energy, was rooted deeper within your being than the energy or the potential, the knowing of the possibility of your desire. Now, I desire to go out to eat. That might not be such a big deal. But I desire to have my own restaurant. That might be different, right? How do I purchase the food for the restaurant? How do I find the building? How do I get all the equipment and supplies? How do I staff my restaurant? How do I market my restaurant? How do I create the culture of my restaurant? All of these things may be daunting ideas that cause all of the resistance, cause resistance to show up, fears, doubts, worries that stifle your progress. This is what we're talking about. Anytime you have a desire, whether they're from your perspective big or small, it's likely that you have some type of resistance to it. Even when you go to the store and you see a shirt or a jacket or some pants or socks or something that you desire, if you look at the price tag, that's conflict. That's some form of conflict to the truth of abundance that is source and that is you, that is existing inside of you. Concern around resources when resources are in abundance. You look outside, the rabbit is not concerned about whether that which it needs is present or not. The bird is not concerned about whether that which it needs is present or not. Neither is the tree, neither is the flower. That which comes up when you look at the price tag and you have to consider is conflict to the truth. Every intention, every desire, again, whether it's big or small from your perspective, brings forward into your awareness some form of resistance or conflict. And that's beautiful and that's perfect, because without the awareness, you have no power over it. It has all power over you. But once you have the awareness, once you know that when I set this intention, all of the stuff is going to start to come up. But I know that when I begin to clear the stuff, the truth of my being, the strength, the power, the excellence of my being is going to begin to flow forward more and more. And with that, the more and more free I am to act in the direction of my intentions. So the question is, for those of you who are on this path of growth and expansion, for those of you aspiring to be powerful, conscious creators, guess what? The bigger the intention that you can establish for yourself, the greater the resistance that it's going to pull and reveal to you that you're carrying on the inside. And the more resistance or inner conflict that you become aware of, the faster you become aware of it, the quicker you can release it and begin to realize the truth of you that has always been there, that is free of that conflict. So what are we saying? We're saying today, tomorrow, the rest of this week, take inventory of your life. Look at every area. Establish your intention. Establish an intention if you haven't done this. Even if you have, revamp your list. Take this week, take a few moments daily and go through every area of your life and establish an intention with as much clarity as you can muster. And even before you do that, start with I intend beauty in my life. I intend excellence in my life. I intend magnificence in my life. I intend love in my life. Start with those type things as a foundation. And then go into the different areas of your life, your relationships, your finances, your experience of abundance, your job, your career, all of those things. Establish intentions in those areas. All right? After you do that, look within for that which you are most passionate about, that which you have been inspired to, and you know you have for some time, maybe months, maybe years, that you haven't acted on. Set an intention for that idea. And after you set these intentions, revisit these intentions daily and notice the resistance that begins to show itself inside of you as a result of having established these intentions, these designs, these desires that you are desiring, intending to create as experience. As a matter of fact, use a separate note. If you use a notebook or separate pieces of paper, put each intention at the top, as clear as you can get them at the top of the paper, and leave space up under it to note the resistance that begins to come forward, that begins to reveal itself in your awareness to those intentions. The fear, the hesitation, any frustration from the past. All of these things are evidence of ideas that you're holding that oppose your intention. Notice how it feels in the body. Notice where the feeling is in the body. Is the feeling over your heart? Is the feeling off center from your heart? Is the feeling down in your gut area? Notice the feeling and where that feeling is located. Note all of these things down, and then begin to use whatever tools you have to release. But the first step is create the intentions. The second step is to begin to observe as you move through life and notice the resistance to these intentions that begin to make their way up into your conscious awareness. Make note of those. This is a continuous thing. Make note of the resistance. And then in your meditation, ask your inner being how to go about releasing them in the highest fashion for you, and do that. And as you do that, you will begin to see differently. Through your mind's eye and through your physical eyes. You will begin to see differently, because as you release the resistance to those intentions, the greater the light that you will see begin to make its way through you, because that cloud is no longer there. And the greater the light that's able to move through you, your perspective, your interpretation, the possibilities that are available to you become more and more clear. You're freer to act in the ways that you are inspired to act in the direction of your intentions. And it won't be long before you find yourself coming in contact with things and doing things that are more and more in alignment with your intentions, because you have, number one, created clarity of which you are able to focus on, and you have gone about the play and practice of cleansing yourself of that which is within already that you have been conditioned to, that opposes the creation of the experience. So you're engaging the mind and the mental framework, and you are engaging your vibrational expression by releasing those ideas that hold you in a vibrational state that contradicts the experience that you desire. This is where your power is. This is the power that you have that is above and beyond anything that appears outside of you. There is no causal nature or ability to experience outside of you. You are the center of your verse, of your song. You are the center. That which is appearing outside of you, the people and the things, are matching you in what you are expressing. We've said this before. The beauty that you encounter, the not so great things that you encounter, if we just take experiences with other beings who are human, whether in your home or in the store or at the gas station or at the restaurant, there is a perfection at play. There is a precision at play, because 2 minutes earlier or 2 minutes later, you may not have come in contact with that individual to have that experience. Think about that. Think about the perfection that has to be at play, the precision that has to be at play for you to meet that person at that moment, in that spot, to have that excellent conversation or that disrespectful conversation. Where is cause? Where is cause? Clarity of your intention and your design. Focus on that which you have established as an energy structure, your intention, your design. Become more and more aware of the conflict that you are carrying that begins to reveal itself. Engage your inner being to release that conflict and begin to notice that which you come in contact with, that which you become as a result of no longer carrying the conflict that is holding you in a vibrational position that opposes your intention. Act as you are inspired to in relationship to that intention. These are your points of power. All inside. All inside. And when you follow these steps and you undergird that with the highest of expression, the most beautiful of expression, the most excellent of vibrational expression that you can muster and be consistent at, you should be expecting. You should be expecting that those energies, those frequencies are going to be mirrored back to you through the experiences, through your intentions. That's what's been happening all along. It's just now you are conscious of it. You're consciously aware. So many have the challenge of of expecting the good in their life. They're so used to the not so great. They're so used to the roller coaster that instead of even being on the roller coaster, they don't expect the highs to be their norm. They expect the one step forward, two steps back idea. Because the conditioning of humanity is in such a low vibrational state. They don't expect the highs. They don't expect the excellence. They don't expect the abundance. They don't expect amazing. But one of the things that happens when you walk this path and you begin to acquire the necessary tools and you begin to establish the ideas that are the truth of you in source, a level of knowing begins to reveal itself. A level of expectancy begins to reveal itself, not of the external, but of the frequencies, of the energies that you are offering, of the energy structures that you have created. A level of expectation, a level of knowing and of certainty begins to reveal itself, and you can feel it in your body. How does it feel? Well, how does it feel when you ask yourself or you say to yourself, I know I can drive, if you're a driver. I know I can drive. If you're a swimmer, I know I can swim. Nobody can tell me different. It's silly to even fathom the idea of not being able to swim. I've been swimming for years. I've been driving since I was 9. Right? That knowing, that certainty, most often it's low and it's deep and it feels anchored, it feels rooted, it feels centered. It can't be moved. Think about the things in the areas of your life that you absolutely know, that you are highly skilled at, or that whatever it is, that may be just cooking. But you know you can do it. And for anybody to tell you that you can't or it's not possible is silly. It just bounces off your conscious awareness as that is ridiculous. You must be talking about somebody else, because you're definitely not talking to me, because I have the experiences. I know for a fact, knowing. And when you begin to move into that place and you know that abundance is your truth in all forms, when you know that health and well-being is your truth, when you know that things are always working out for you, when you know that because of the frequency that you're offering, synchronicities and perfect timings that are always guiding you to your next highest intention are always presenting themselves. That knowing begins to reveal itself as the truth in these ideas of energy and frequency that you are offering. Right now you're building the muscle of expecting these things, of believing in yourself that you are these things. Even though the process is the same and you have been doing it all your life, just not consciously. There's such an aversion to an individual being able to create consistent beauty in their life, success in their life. Why is it so hard to believe? When most have wholeheartedly believed in the opposite because that was what they were conditioned to. But when they begin to move in the opposite direction, it's like they're creating something new, a whole new world, a whole new life, but the process is the same. The process is the same. There's nothing to believe. Once you understand the process, this is what it is. If I do this, this, and this that I have always done, I just didn't know I was doing it. If I do this, this, and this, then this is what's going to happen. My experience is going to be this. But we understand that you have to build the muscle. You're building the muscle. But you don't have to. You could just step into it. But we're here to support you wherever you are in this process. The process is the same. The process is simple. We didn't say it was easy, but it is simple. You have your conditioning to contend with. You have the inner conflict that has already been established on your plane of existence in the powerful tool of the mind and the body, which is where the mind is. You have that to contend with. You have that to work with, but you are its master. It's not your master. You are its master once you become conscious. These are beautiful times, and this is an excellent time for you to realize and recognize the truth of you in source that is infinite, that is eternal, that has no limits, that has no boundaries. And when you begin to breathe that truth as your truth physically, as you walk in your plane of existence, not only do you align yourself with all that you could ever imagine in the highest, but you also become a magnificent beacon of light for all that you come in contact with, giving them the opportunity to tune up to you, not because of anything you say, but because of the frequency you are holding as you be. Again, we're thankful for each of you who have participated, supported us with your energies in the creation of this interaction. We're thankful for those of you who have found this recorded and allowed us to be of support in that manner. If you have questions or comments or was spurred to anything that you would like to present as a idea of discussion, place those in the chat and we'll take a few minutes on those. All right, awesome. Let's see. Make sure we didn't miss anything. We'll scroll down. Hello, everyone. Awesome. Let's see. We'll just read this one. Anna says, I love this idea. I intend to make the list of intentions this week, holding myself accountable. I can spare a few moments for my growth and evolution. Yes. Now, when you say accountable, Anna, don't make it heavy. When you say accountable, make sure it's not heavy. Make sure it's light. Make sure it's playful. That's why we say play and practice. Make sure it's light. Make sure it's playful. That guarantees that you are in the right frequency, in the right vibrational state. Your energy expression is beautiful and amazing and free flowing when you are entertaining these ideas, when you are looking at resistance, when you are establishing your intentions or your designs. Make sure you're playing with it. Make sure you're having fun with it. That is the right energy. But if it feels like work, or if it feels heavy, or if it feels like you're trying to do something because you want to change something, then you're in the wrong energy. Make sure you're playing with it. That's a key. This thing is very delicate. Everything that you do from this day forward, make sure you're in a high, free-flowing energy when you engage yourself, when you engage the inner creative process, and know that and be in the position of I intend to create because I can and because I'm inspired to. I am not intending to create. Now, you're not saying that you're thinking this, but this is not in your being when you're doing it. But we'll say this out loud. You're not trying to create. You have to make sure that you're not trying to create anew because you want to change something. You don't want to try to create anew or have an intention because you're moving away from an undesired. That means that your activities, inner activities that you're engaging in, is because of something that's undesired. That makes the undesired thing the point of focus, the reason, the cause, which means that you're still activating the undesired and you're not moving away from it by doing all of this inner stuff because of the thing that's undesired. You're still moving toward it. Your activities have to be pure because of the thing that you're intending and desiring to create in play. As play. It can't be because of a thing you're trying to change. It can't be because you no longer want to have an experience. Because if that is lingering in the background, that is the focus and the reason for the activity, and you're still creating the thing that's undesired. It's very delicate. It's very delicate. Pay close attention. Awesome. Thank you for comment. Let's see, we've got Anna again here. Awesome. Do you have any suggestions on how I can get myself to be less resistant and decrease my irritation about loud noises coming from my children or spouse? I really want to transmute this energy. Thanks. You know, this is kind of along the lines of what we just said. When you're in a high frequency place, the activities of those around you affect you less and less. It's when the mind starts getting active and you start thinking things along the idea of expectation. My spouse knows what I'm doing. They should be quieter. The kids should be quieter. People are not considering me. People are not honoring what I'm trying to do. And so A should be doing A, B, and C. Those expectations hit those triggers hard and create those feelings that move you off center and that sabotage your meditation time, that sabotage your observance of the beauty of your sacredness. So how do you handle that? First of all, get yourself into as high a frequency space as you can. The higher the frequency, the less it bothers you, and the further you have to fall in to get to lower vibration, which means that you're able to catch yourself. Oh, I see myself being bothered or triggered. Let me get myself back into a high vibrational place. Benny did that the other day. He was feeling moved in the home. Can't remember exactly what was going on, but he saw the ideas and the thoughts. He could feel the feeling subtly, and he immediately engaged it. This is a result of play and practice and building the muscle. He immediately engaged and put himself into a higher frequency state, saying, I am the highness. I am the highest expressing of the truth of my being in source. Just that simple statement. And he repeated it until he could feel himself in a higher frequency, and those thoughts disappeared. Because the frequency he put himself in is not the frequency that those thoughts were born of. That's why we say high energy, high frequency space when you engage. And not just when you engage in meditation, anything. When you find yourself being triggered or moved off center, simply get yourself into a higher frequency place. And you'll find that those thoughts disappear. You'll find that you are not as bothered as you were. Right? Simple, but not easy. We understand that. Requires play and practice. Build the muscle. Thank you for that, Anna. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Sonia says, if you believe you can, you will. It's absolutely about belief. Thank you for that. We'll throw this in there. This just came. Do you believe this process to be easy or difficult? Do you believe the process of releasing inner conflict easy or difficult? Are you at war with yourself? Or are you being fun and playful with yourself? Right? What is it that they say? We hear a lot. The battle of the mind. I'm at war with my mind and all of these things. It's a fight. All of these things. Please release those ideas, because your inner being, your subconscious mind knows exactly what that means. And if you believe that to be true, then it is going to be difficult, because there's always going to be blocks and barriers. Your mind is putting it up because you're saying it's a fight, which makes it a fight. Believe that it's easy. Believe that it's fun. Believe in the truth of you in source that is free of these ideas, and you're just moving in that direction playfully. Warring, fighting, pushing against. You're fighting with yourself. So you're in direct conflict with what you are trying to accomplish, because you're fighting with yourself. Release that stuff. Let that stuff go. Those are ideas born of low vibration being applied to what should be a high vibrational process, activity, journey. Misinterpretation. We're telling you to be in a high vibrational place, to love yourself, to make it playful, to honor yourself, to have fun with it. It is the process. Be excited and enjoy the process. That's what makes it go faster. That's what makes the observing and releasing of resistance faster, because you're always engaging it in a higher frequency. In a frequency that is not of the frequency from which the conflict was born. That supports the disintegration of those ideas. And you are in more connection to the support of your inner being that makes its suggestions on how to address conflict present on the screen of your imagination, on the screen of your mind. The higher the frequency that you're in, the more easily you're able to perceive this exchange between you and your inner being. It's very important. Fighting, warring, battling, all of those things are wrong. They place you in opposition with yourself, and that's not a good thing. Let's see. Sakaya life is saying, why is it so much easier to believe in the opposite? Why does it seem so hard to overcome the inner conflicts? When you say it's easier to believe in the opposite, it's not really easier to believe. That's just the conditioning. Think about it. If you were conditioned to higher frequency, if humanity was of higher frequency, then it would be weird to be in lower frequency. And the question would be, why is it easier to believe and expect higher frequency activities, actions, thoughts, and experiences than it is to believe in lower vibration? It's about conditioning. But the truth is that that is just within your mind and body. It's about the conditioning. The truth of you in source is of a high frequency. And you can prove this to yourself. Get yourself into a high, amazing, fantastic, beautiful, loving, excited, exhilarating frequency. And then look at life and see what you see. Notice your thoughts. Now, is it going to last? No, it's going to burn off and you're going to come down to whatever your normal state is. And then when you get to that normal state, you'll hover there and then something may happen. It may knock you off center and you'll be back into the low states and on the roller coaster again. That high frequency expression is going to burn off because it's not the norm. It's not your norm, right? It's not even the norm of the truth, right? Because think about when you're in meditation. When you're in meditation, you're not super excited and you're not angry and frustrated and hateful either. You're still. And the less resistant you are to the truth of you in source, that frequency begins to bubble up. And over time, the less resistance that you have to the offering of the truth of you in source, yes, it will move higher and higher and higher naturally on its own. But it does that from that empty space. But our suggestion is for you to know for yourself that the truth of you is of higher frequency. Get yourself into a fast-flowing energy and then look at life from that space and see what you see. Your thoughts will be different. Your perspective will be different. Your interpretation of life events will be different because perception, interpretation, understanding are different per the frequency that you're in. Which means that if you're in a lower vibrational state, you're not in the most powerful position. You're not in the most powerful state of being for you. The most powerful state of being for you is always in a higher frequency than the circumstance, so that you can see and have access to higher frequency opportunities, higher frequency thoughts, higher frequency language, higher frequency actions as a parent, as a partner, as a stranger at the store, in your business dealings, at your job and your career. You're more powerful always in a higher frequency, which means that you're moving closer and closer to your truth in source. They have to be synonymous. They have to go together. Hard to overcome inner conflict? Well, our question would be, do you have a process? Do you have a process to overcoming your inner conflict, to release some resistance? Are you aware that you can access your inner being to support you in how to do that? Because how ideas are registered within your mind may be different from how you perceive them. Okay, you may have the idea of a broken relationship looks this way, and you have the people and you have memories and all those things. But in your inner being, the idea of broken relationship that you're believing in and that you have been conditioned to may look like something else. It may look like a big boulder that's heavy with smoke coming off of it, with the fire of some type of fear that happened as a child burning at its center. And that's the idea and how it is rooted in your being. And if you're trying to address the last partner that you had a disagreement with and that you broke up with, but this is at your core, you're always going to be returning to that as experience, because you're not addressing the true image of the cause of the experience that keeps materializing for you. So having the tools, having the tools to address it, knowing that you can interact with your inner being through the screen of your imagination, and then making it light. And like we said previously, operating in a high frequency, a high vibration when you're going about this play and practice. That's key also. A high frequency state causes any resistance and conflict to bubble up because it is already interacting with those ideas and dissolving them, making them uncomfortable. That's why they come up into your awareness, because you are offering a vibrational position that's different from the vibrational position that allowed these ideas to root in your being in the first place. We hope that makes sense. Let's see. Try looking at the noise as a blessing that you have in your lives. Okay, Sonia says, Anna, try looking at the noise as a blessing that you have them in your lives. That's an excellent way to look at it. And that is the observing of what is the blessing in this. And it's not for them. Your life experience, you're at the center, and it's a selfish experience. It's not for them, it's for you. What's the blessing in this for them? The moment that you have all of this stuff going on while you're trying to meditate, while you're trying to do your thing inwardly, is a support to you to build the muscle of focus, to build the muscle of where you're placing your attention. Think about that. Right? Can you clear it out? Can you be powerful in spite of the noise? Because the noise is not just present in your home with your family. The noise is present when you go to the store. The noise is present when you see the news. The noise is present when you're around brother or sister or mother or father and they're talking about all the not so great happenings, or they're talking about the things that are going on in the world and they're speaking from a low vibrational space. All of that is noise. Are you able to stay centered and focused in the truth of you and perceive from a higher frequency place? You can begin to practice that in the home when spouse, partner, children are doing their thing in the peripheral. In the peripheral, but you are able to stay centered. You're able to stay empty. You're able to stay clear. And you're able to stay focused on that which you intend in the highest. Awesome. Thank you for that. Let's see. A lot of conversation here today. Awesome. Let's see. Thank you. Thank you, Sonia. I said, indeed. So blessed to have in my life. Perspective isn't, yes, it's absolutely about perspective. That's awesome, awesome, awesome. Conversation. Clay of life. The clay of life, absolutely. Let's see. Sometimes the undesired feeling is so strong and it seems as if I have to scream. Sure. 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 And in that moment, if you can separate yourself and observe it, that's building the muscle. When you're having that experience, don't get frustrated with yourself. Don't be angry with yourself. Try your best to be the observer. Create some space between the feeling and the thoughts. But you can do that more easily by seeing it, seeing that you're off center, seeing that you're in this low space, and get yourself into a high space, a higher space. Move up the scale in your frequency offering. That's the fastest way to do it. Now, we understand that as you build the muscle, there'll be times where you get swept away by the emotion, and then you'll move into being able to catch yourself, being able to see it, but not being able to get yourself out of it, and then looking back and saying, man, I really got swept away. But I'm stronger for it because I was able to see it. Right? You move through phases of not being aware, then becoming aware and being able to see it and not being able to stop, being able to see it and almost being able to change direction, being able to see it and trying to change direction and doing a better job at it, to being able to see it and immediately changing direction and getting yourself out of it. But do it playfully. Play with this. Play with this. Understand that any frustration, any anger, any being bothered with the process, you're communicating to you. And you're establishing loops of frustration in this conscious creator growth and development play and practice that you're engaged in. And you don't want to create loops of low vibration in and around the play and practice of growth and expansion and evolution energetically and vibrationally that you're engaged in. Make it playful. That way you're in a high frequency when you're engaging. I hope that makes sense. Excellent, Kristen, sorry about that. Kristen, excited that you're here. Don't like the feeling that I'm forcing myself. Yeah. And you don't want to force yourself. The minute you feel like you're forcing yourself, get into that higher frequency state. That's the answer. That's the answer for that. But it's about building the muscle once again. It feels awesome. It feels great. Yeah. Engaging with us, the energy. Each of you have tuned up to us. That's why you feel the way you're feeling right now. But you'll taper off, right? As the day goes on, you'll taper off. But we have given you evidence of what you can offer consistently. That can be your state. This is where you're going. Playfully. This is where you're going. But again, build the muscle. Know that you're building the muscle. That's what this is about. All right. Conversation. Yeah, you're very welcome. Very welcome. So I think it's best people. Less noise. Well, when you say ignore, it's about you don't want to ignore, right? Because the people that you come in contact with are reflecting you. So if you're triggered to excitement and joy and love, that's awesome. If you're triggered to less than excitement, joy, and love, then then what you have come in contact with is saying that you have resistance there. You've been moved off center. And that's perfect. Right? That's perfect. You don't want to ignore your experience, whatever that might be, because it's revealing what's inside. Right? It's revealing the clouds or it's revealing the sun. Welcome both of them. Understand that it's you. And that's beautiful. And when anything that resists a desired intention shows up, you write it down so that you can address it and know that you're moving in the direction of your intention. Right? You don't want to ignore experience. That's masking over. That's turning your back on that which is being presented to you as a reflection of you. It's all perfect. You have to view it that way. You have to view the argument. You have to view the laughter and the smiles, all in the same way. There's a process at play. There's perfect timing at play. There's that which is being presented outside of me that's revealing the presence of ideas within me. Thank you. Let me look and find those ideas, because if they're not congruent with what I am trying to create, they need to be released. The emotion, the energy around them, the idea, the image, the concept, it needs to be released. But if you ignore them, then you never free yourself of those ideas. Yeah, you got to see it all as beautiful. See it all as perfect. That's how this works. If not, then you're always going to be tied to them. And you're always going to be at odds with yourself. This thing is very delicate, once again. This is a very delicate process, but once you get it, things begin to speed up. Positive blessing in this situation, absolutely. Sonia, you're very, very welcome. Absolutely. like we said, it's very delicate. It's delicate. Play with this thing. This is a lesson. This is something Benny had to learn. And you go in and out of it, but you want to make that idea dominant that you're playing with this thing. Why? Because it's a matter of vibration. When you're playing with something, when you're playing at cooking, when you're playing at being in the garden, you're in a high vibrational state. And you're open to suggestion. You're open to interact. You're open to thoughts and things. How many times have you? Let's play with cooking. Benny does a lot of cooking nowadays, and he enjoys it. And probably for a few years now, his cooking has been the result of suggestions. No recipes. Sometimes he looks stuff up, but no recipes. He just has the thoughts and the ideas of put this in, do this, do that, put this with that. And it turns out fantastic. And it's because now with cooking, it's a high vibrational creation and experience. And in that high frequency, the information, the suggestion is all of high frequency, which means that it's in alignment with a beautiful end, even if he doesn't know what that end is exactly. Even if you don't know what that end is exactly, you're in alignment with a beautiful end because you're operating in a beautiful energy. So when you're about to play and practice of this inner work, you want to be in a beautiful energy, even if you're dealing with the most traumatic of childhood events. It's critical. Yeah. All right. So you're not trying to control the environment. You're trying to manage and know you. Because when it's presented to you and you discover that which is inside of you that is connecting you to the low vibrational experiences, and you release those ideas and establish new ideas that more align you with the experiences that you desire, or you don't establish new ideas. You can, or you don't, and you just look for the truth of you in source as it relates to that idea. Those lower vibrational experiences no longer become your norm. As a matter of fact, they begin to disintegrate from your experience more and more. Right? So you're not trying to control the environment. The environment is all effects. There is no cause in the environment. You're not trying to control the environment. You're trying to become more and more aware of that which is within that connects you to the type of environment that has been the norm. That's what we're doing. Because when you shift your frequency, even by a fraction, the external experience as it relates to you, not as it relates to your brother or your sister or your mother or your father or your partner or your children, but your experience as it relates to you changes.